Hello again, comic fans, to another round of superhero fisticuffs on Grudge Match, the show where the matches you've always wondered about between DC and Marvel characters are examined to determine who tops who in single combat. Today's episode is all about super soldiers as the two most famous enhanced military vets collide. It's Marvel's Star-Spangled Avenger, Captain America, and DC's mercenary and assassin extraordinaire, Deathstroke. Both of these characters have a lot in common in both being former military men who volunteered for special experiments during their time in the military that enhanced their physiology and their mental faculties far beyond those of normal humans, and then went on to use those skills to have very successful careers in the superheroing game. Captain America, created first by a wide margin back in 1941, Steve Rogers volunteered to go into the military as that was during the time of World War II, and he wanted to be one of the people who went over and helped stop the Nazis. But he was very small and frail and was taken into the special Project Rebirth program, which injected him with a super soldier serum and blasted his body with Vita rays, which turned him into the 100% peak human potential, both physically and mentally, Captain America. Deathstroke, created in 1980, had very similar experiences. Although he was not during the time of World War II, he too joined the military at a relatively young age, and unlike Steve Rogers, he was not small and frail. He actually was one of the best fighters in the military, and he was chosen because of that, because he was already very, very advanced in his fighting capability and soldiering skills. They chose him to make him even more enhanced over than that. And his body and physiology was enhanced by an experiment that was meant to stimulate his adrenal gland. It didn't work exactly as it was supposed to, and it had the effects of physically enhancing his skills beyond human normal, as well as his mental faculties as well. Deathstroke actually has superhuman physical skills. Superhuman strength, enabling him to lift at about 1 ton of capacity when it comes to his superhuman strength. That surpasses Captain America's strength level, where at his peak, he can only lift about 1,200 pounds. So between the two, Deathstroke is the stronger of the two. They both also have enhanced speed and reflexes. When it comes to running speed and basic movement speed, Deathstroke can be seen to top about 30 miles per hour in running. Captain America can actually go a bit faster than that, and at his peak speed, going full sprint, he can actually hit 50 miles per hour. So in terms of running speed, Captain America is the faster of the two. However, this doesn't necessarily speak to reflex speed when it comes to basic hand-to-hand fighting and their reflexes, because they both have seemed to be on relatively equal footing in that regard. Much faster than a normal human, but not so fast that their movements can't really be followed. So in terms of reaction and reflexes, they're on about equal footing. When it comes to their enhanced brain function and brain capacity, it's been said that Deathstroke uses 90% of his brain versus the normal human 10% of their brain. This is a myth and a misnomer, because basic, normal, everyday humans use way more than 10% of their brain. In fact, the average human uses 100% of their brain all the time. Different spheres and lobes and hemispheres of the brain do different things and control different body parts. What Deathstroke actually has is using 90% of his brain's total capacity. So, whereas a normal human may only use 10% of their full potential, while still utilizing 100% of their actual brain space, Deathstroke uses 90% of his brain's total capacity and potential. This allows him to have almost computer-like efficiency in processing information. Now, Captain America wasn't just physically enhanced by Project Rebirth, but his mental abilities were enhanced as well, and he uses the peak human potential, or more or less 100% of his brain's capacity. So between the two, they're fairly close in terms of ability to take in information and process it and formulate battle strategies, but Captain America might be seen as just a little bit better because he uses 100% of his brain's capacity versus Deathstroke's 90%. Not so much of a disparity to where either one could say to be far above the other in terms of strategy and information processing, but Captain America takes the edge a little bit in that regard. Now, when it comes to the things they bring into the fight, weaponry and armor, things like that, Captain America has, of course, the famed Captain America shield, a vibranium steel unknown alloy meshed together to create the shield, which can deflect energy, absorb kinetic energy to lessen blows even when hit by somebody with superhuman strength. And he, of course, uses this shield very effectively in combat as a primary weapon. His battle suit is also not just spandex, but it's also a very high-tech and specifically created for him battle suit that is bulletproof, it's temperature controlled, it absorbs electricity, it absorbs impacts so that superhuman strength foes punching him doesn't hurt him near as much. So it's a very advanced battle suit as well. Deathstroke's, however, is a bit better because while it also is an enhanced battle suit that does all the same stuff, it's bulletproof, it absorbs energy, it deflects kinetic energy and absorbs super strength powered blows from opponents, it's actually a bit better in that it is fused with a metal known as promethium. This is a metal that's exclusive to the DC universe that is a lot like vibranium. But not only does it absorb and deflect energy, but it can sort of create energy as well. And not only is his armor coated with this, so his body is fully protected by this promethium, but also the swords that he uses are made of the same promethium. So Captain America has his vibranium steel alloy shield, Deathstroke has promethium sword, as well as promethium blended into his armor. And then on top of that, Deathstroke often utilizes a vast array of different weapons, guns, explosives, all kinds of stuff that he uses in his assassination missions as a high-tech and highly sought-after mercenary. Additionally, even if Deathstroke does happen to get injured through his armor, he has a regenerative healing factor. Now, Captain America heals as fast as a human can possibly heal without being superhuman, but Deathstroke actually has a superhuman level healing factor that allows him to heal from what would be a fatal injury to most people, and he can heal from it in maybe a day or two's time. And smaller injuries can heal even quicker than that in a matter of minutes if it's not a significant type of injury. So having taken a look at the physical abilities, the weapons, the skills, and traits of these two characters, it's time now to determine who would win if they were to ever collide in one-on-one competition. That winner's going to be Deathstroke. Slade Wilson is going to take home the win of this grudge match. Both of them have their strengths and weaknesses over the other, Captain America being a little bit faster and having that shield that he is very, very adept at using, both for offense and defense. Deathstroke is the stronger of the two, and he's got the promethium sword and armor, which he uses to very potent effect as well. A couple of the X factors, though, happen to be that Deathstroke does have the healing factor, which would allow him to be a bit more resilient than Captain America would be. And ultimately, Deathstroke's superhuman skills, his ability to lift far more, and that means he can hit far harder, and both of them being on fairly equal footing in terms of reflexes, and then also Deathstroke bringing in other weapons, guns and explosives to the fight, would put Captain America entirely on the defensive through the whole thing, and eventually Deathstroke would be able to get around those defenses with his various weapons, his superhuman strength, his superhuman reflexes and speed, and would ultimately take out Captain America in this grudge match. Message me down below, let me know what you think of the outcome of this fight, and as always, any suggestions for future grudge matches. We'll see you next time on the next edition of Grudge Match.